And the nominees for Best Video Game Movie are A Blue Fuzzy Thing, A Yellow Fuzzy Thing, a movie only to be seen with nostalgia goggles, or a bunch of really shitty, poorly designed movies that barely make any sense. And the winner is... They're all garbage. All of them. Every single fucking one of them. What's up, everybody? It's your boy, MC Gingerbread, here for another episode of Angry Ginger Complains About Things into a Camera That No One Listens to. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about video game movies. And while I was researching video game movies, aka watching a bunch of really shitty movies, I stumbled across a man who is not only well known for making awful movies, but is also an awful person himself. And he's behind such great hits as Blood Rain, In the Name of the King, Postal, all these really awful movies. And his name? Uwe Ball. And if you haven't heard of this guy, well then you're in for a treat, because he is one wild person. So before we start talking about the movies that he's made, I just want to talk about him. So while we're here, let's jump into the mind of Uwe Ball. Oh my god. Oh, it smells like death and semen in here. Oh, okay, never mind. We're gonna go, okay. So Uwe Ball is this German film director who is well known for tackling such controversial topics as animal abuse, where at the beginning of his movie Seed, he literally shows real animal abuse. He then donates all of the money that he made from that movie to animal rights activists, so that's okay, I guess. But he also plays an SS gas chamber guard in the trailer for his movie Auschwitz. He wrote a horror story about Joseph Fritzl, who is the guy that kidnapped his daughter, put her in the basement, and kept her there, torturing her for years. He created a movie called Rampage, where it's literally just from the point of view of a mass shooter as he continues his rampage. He hired prostitutes instead of actual actresses in a scene for the movie Blood Rain, where Meatloaf, the singer, is surrounded by a bunch of naked thralls. And also, he made the movie Postal, which, if you haven't seen it, and I talked about it earlier, it is literally made for the express purpose of pissing everyone off in the most lowbrow way possible. And controversial topics are not the only thing that he's well known for. He's also well known for getting really angry at anyone that says anything bad about his movies. He's sent multiple letters to people that have wrote unflattering articles about him. He even sent one to a Wired writer, and let me get the exact quote from it. Let me get my glasses here. You are a wannabe, be with two E's, filmmaker with no balls. And no, not now, go to your mom and fuck her, because she cooks for you now since 30 years, so she deserves it. What the fuck? And he constantly makes fun of people for this stuff. He even constantly insults other famous directors. Going as far as to, when he got interviewed on Attack of the Show, they brought out a dummy with Michael Bay's face on it, and he beat the shit out of it. And that's not the only thing he beat the shit out of, because he made an event back in the day called Raging Bull, where he invited 5 writers or directors of websites that wrote not happy articles about him to come and fight him. And the crazy part is, it actually happened. He actually fought them, and he won all 5 fights. One of them was a 17-year-old kid. Ironically, the 17-year-old was the one that stood the best chance because he was an actual amateur boxer, whereas the rest of them were just a bunch of lowly, skinny white dudes that he beat the shit out of. And they made a documentary about it. It's called Raging Bull, as I said earlier, and you should definitely go watch it. It's extremely interesting. But if you're not, I'm going to talk about it anyway. So in the documentary, they kind of cast like a flattering light on the guy, pretty much saying like, he was under a bunch of intense scrutiny because while his movies were coming to rise or fall, it was during the time of where the internet was really getting popular. So people could gather online and create hate groups and really just beat and say horrible things about Uwe Ball. So you kind of feel bad for him because he's just got all these people on the internet hating on him. But then they like show clips of him saying that he's a fucking genius and he's smarter than every director out there.
If you really look in my movies, you will see my real genius.
And then also they show a clip where he's making fun of what seems to be little kids, like in maybe high school, making videos.
And here we are. It looks like they shot it in the public toilet in the school. Look here. His feet is attached to the sink. They couldn't even afford like a chain. It's the first like completely like failure in directing something.
And I'm like, duh, they're fucking kids. And speaking of how they pay for all these things, how does Uwe Ball pay for all his shit movies when they don't do so well? Like, none of his movies do well, and I'll show you how. House of the Dead, budgeted at $12 million. In the first week, it made $5.7. Alone in the Dark, budgeted at $20 million, only made $5.1. Blood Rain, budgeted at $25 million, only made $2.4 million. And In the Name of the King is his biggest flop, with a budget of $60 million and only made about 10. So the way that Uwe Ball was able to fund his movies is because he owned a tax shelter in Germany, in which case, when you invest in a movie in Germany, they had this loophole in their system where if the amount of money you spend there, they give you about 50% back when you invest in a movie there, which he was widely criticized for using this loophole. And in actuality, in 2008 or something like that, it got closed, so he could no longer use that, in which case then he had to crowdfund his movies. And if you couldn't tell, that did not go well. There's actually a video of him complaining about that exact thing where people wouldn't crowdfund his movies called Fuck You All. And it's got 1.8 million views currently, which means that it's probably the most viewed video that he's ever put out. And he goes on this expletive-filled tirade where he insults Marvel Avengers, Brad Pitt, and George Clooney, saying that his movies are better and they actually have a fucking message to them, which the movie that he was trying to fund was called Rampage 3, which I'm sure you probably even seen Rampage 1 or 2, so the fact that he thinks Rampage 3 is going to be this end-all be-all of movies is really fucking stupid. But anyway, so, yeah, like, I just, that guy is fucking crazy, so. Okay, so that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I'm going to make another video probably talking about all the other really god-awful video game movies that aren't directed by Uwe Ball, thank God, but are still god-awful. So I hope you stay tuned for the next one, and have a nice day, guys. Peace!